Hello all, my name's Emily Reynolds, National Programmes Director at the Youth Sport Trust. First of all, I'd just like to say a huge thank you from everyone at the Youth Sport Trust for your ongoing commitment to the wellbeing of children and young people, and your engagement in this instance with the Surrey team to improve the quality of physical education and school sport in order to achieve better wellbeing. I'm just going to take you through a couple of things that I hope will be of use to you as part of your virtual experience. And as I say, to kick that off, it is really important we say a thank you. These have definitely been really uncertain times, not least for you as professionals, but imagine just being 11, 12 years old, where potentially nearly a 12th of your existence on this planet has been in the world of COVID-19. What we realised through the insight that we gathered just at the start of the academic year was about 73% of teachers, when young people returned from the summer holidays and came back into school, reported that they could visibly see reduced levels of physical fitness in children and young people in their classes. We know that about 48% of schools were doing less, and potentially 4 in 10 schools doing no extracurricular activity. And many schools were indeed reducing their PE time. And all of this was before we had this lockdown number 2. So increasingly, we know schools are unsure of what they can and can't do within the boundaries of the guidance. But as the Youth Sport Trust, what we are absolutely passionate about is there are still and will continue to be opportunities, if we are innovative, to ensure that young people get to move and learn to love and fall in love with sport and physical activity, potentially for this year, but hopefully for the rest of their lives. The agility and innovation that we've seen in schools has been absolutely wonderful. And the Surrey Virtual School Games offering is a demonstration again of how local sports development staff, colleagues who work within the school sport landscape have had to be really, really agile to do things differently to hopefully support you as school practitioners to make things as easy, as innovative and as exciting as possible for children and young people. What we've seen, some of the things we've seen is bubble clubs, where maybe some of the activities that have been shared through the virtual engagement have been used to inspire activity for bubble-based provision. That could be interactivity, which is fostering that sense of belonging, enthusing the young people to represent their house, or where previously they may have represented their school, but all of which is encouraging young people to stay active. Some schools we've seen have taken on leadership, enhanced their leadership offering. Maybe only 2 or 3 previously in a class or a year group were classed as your school playground leaders. Now that's extended to have leaders within different bubbles. And a key feature of this whole pandemic period has been the growth of virtual activity and challenges. And that's seen us potentially take that step into the home environment that we've been trying to do for a long period. So that activity stimulated in school, but potentially continued and taken into the home. And one of the things that I was asked to speak about here is about how we have reframed competition and what that means. And for the last 18 months at the Youth Sport Trust, we've been talking about and trying to campaign or use the campaign message of let's reframe competition. And that was trying to move away from school against school, single measure of success, who scored the most goals, who ran the quickest time, who jumped the highest, and started to celebrate wider outcomes. That could be character-based outcomes of developing passion, developing leadership skills, demonstrating good levels of communication, showing commitment. How can we have these parallel scores that mean that we don't just celebrate potentially a single measure and we combine them? And I personally believe this period of us having to do things differently may genuinely have challenged us as educators to think about what really is important for young people and how can we weave that message into a virtual challenge. So it's not just about in a class who's done the most speed bounces. It could be about who started and completed 30 in 30 seconds. And by the end of the 3-week period is now up to maybe 45. So we begin to look at that personal best and we celebrate progress rather than a single measure. So I'd really like to encourage you all to consider As the team in Surrey begin to expand, whether that's in the virtual world that we're currently in or their broader offer of competition, not just to think about the young person who may win the medal for your school because of the raw result, but maybe a young person that would really benefit from the provision being offered, and through using creative mechanisms to celebrate success, we can encourage and inspire more and different young people to get involved. And just as I finish my little interjection of messaging to you, I'm going to share a screen with you, which is just sharing one other opportunity in addition to the work that you may be familiar the Youth Sport Trust do around the school games and potentially why I was asked to speak. Just sharing with you an opportunity that is open for all schools to engage with, and that's about a well school movement. What we've heard in this period is that well-being now is more important than ever. And that's not just for children and young people, actually that's for you, the staff in schools, who I know have been working tirelessly throughout this period. So the Well Schools is a movement, it's an online platform and network which is established around 3 pillars: well prepared, well led and well equipped. Well prepared is about sharing practice between schools around how do you support young people's physical literacy and physical preparation in order for them to be prepared for life. Well led is about how some and many schools are supporting the development of well-being packages, well-being provision, and I suppose a philosophy around staff well-being within their schools. And there is examples in there of different schools sharing practice of what they're doing, and you can join that conversation. And then well equipped is more around how are schools utilising the power of sport, play, physical activity to equip young people with the life skills to go on into the new world. And again, that's probably more important now than ever. So I just wanted to share with you there the opportunity that is available for you to engage in the Well Schools network, which is just www.well-schools.org. I hope the rest of your virtual engagement in the Surrey conference goes well. Huge thank you from everybody at the Youth Sport Trust for everything that you're doing for children and young people, and have a wonderful rest of this term in advance of hopefully a wonderful festive break.